The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And here we are. It is another Manic Monday edition of Mick Shots. I am in my own SWBC podcast studio. And Mickey Spagnola and Everson Walls joining you live from the Star in Frisco in the official SWBC podcast studio. Hello, gentlemen. How are you on this fine Monday?
I'm doing fine, Bill. I'm not mailing it in like you. You're just kind of mailing it in today, huh? That's okay. You know, we all had to come into work. How about that, Spag?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It feels like it's been a year since we talked.
Yeah, it's been. We've had a little holiday weekend. There's a lot that has transpired in the world of sports, but off the top, we should talk about what's transpiring with your Dallas Cowboys. And Mickey, that is one of the reasons I'm doing this show from home today. Is the news of the day there at the Star in Frisco.
With
what are we talking about here?
With Mike McCarthy testing positive for COVID and having to stay away from the team and will not coach the team this week nor on Thursday. And I understand you might have done an interview with him on Friday.
Yeah, that's right. We taped the coaches show on Friday, which aired on Saturday night on CBS 11. And
still plugging.
Since we since that was 3 days ago, and the coach tested positive this morning, we thought it would be best if I did this show virtually. In fact, I went down to get a rapid test, and they advised me, you know what, even if it came back negative today, there's a 5 to 6 day period after an exposure before it would show up as positive. So we made the executive decision not to put either you, Mickey, or you, Everson, at risk, and I would just do it virtually today, which is basically what the team is doing. And that's why they're having the virtual meetings this week, is to try to not have as many exposures. They can still work out outdoors on the field, though.
Yes.
Yeah, they're working out right now.
They're out there practicing now. And you're right, they're doing all their meetings virtually. And really the only thing they're doing in person is the practice, which, again, it's going on now. And it's not just Mike McCarthy. We found out last week that Joe Philbin had tested positive, the offensive line coach, so he missed the game on Thanksgiving. Now his offensive line assistant, Jeff Blasco, is out. So the two offensive line coaches are out. So is offensive assistant Scott Tolzien. And the newest player to go on the COVID reserve list is Terrence Steele, who I guess we can call the starting right tackle since he started this last game at right tackle. And also the entire strength and conditioning staff got wiped out. We knew last week about Cedric Smith. Now Kendall Smith, the assistant, and Harold Nash, the strength and conditioning coordinator. All three guys are on the COVID list. Two of them likely missed the game. Cedric Smith might be back in time to be able to make the trip to New Orleans. So, yes, the Cowboys have had a breakout here.
Outbreak.
Breakout. Well,
they're trying to break out. Bill broke out. Bill, you broke out. But, yeah, everybody else is still
broke
here.
out,
right.
yeah. And so that's going to affect them going forward for the game. You won't have your two offensive line coaches, your head coach, and two of your three strength and conditioning coaches there, along with Terrence Steele at this point, right? Because they're all testing daily. And who knows what happens between now and Thursday night.
You got to know it's going to be more. You know, I mean, just like in Green Bay, you knew it was going to be more by the time the game started. I think it's going to be more. And by the way, Bill, I got to tell you, there was an anonymous call made to make sure that you went and got tested. No, it didn't come from my wife, okay? If there's a rumor that it was from her, it was not from her. So, you know, that anonymous call, just ignore that, okay?
And speaking of a COVID update, the Cowboys didn't activate Amari Cooper off the COVID list yet, so didn't look like he was going to be able to practice. Otherwise, they would have announced that he had been taken off the COVID list.
Why do you think that is?
When Mike McCarthy answered the question, it was like we have to check on his conditioning. So I think they wanted to make sure he was physically able to do everything after missing his 10 days, I think, were up today.
You know, it's funny. We worry about the disease itself. We worry about the virus itself and what it does to the team. But when you think of the individual, and, you know, of course, we got people here that can speak directly on that, it's not just like you just come back and you're ready to go. You know what I mean? I'm done. You know, drank some tea and I'm good. I mean, it may have a lasting effect on his conditioning and not just his conditioning, but just his health overall.
Yeah, so we'll see where that one goes. Also, you know, the strange thing was, you guys, that and I don't know if his test hadn't come back yet, the results, or hadn't taken it yet, but Mike McCarthy had moved his Friday segment on 105.3 The Fan till Monday. So he did his segment this morning at 6:30. And somebody asked, I think the first question they asked him, you know, how are you doing after the weekend? He goes, I'm doing well. And I don't know if he had gotten his results back yet, because at some point in the interview he said, personally, I've moved into the hotel the last couple days. So meaning to try to stay safe, be
isolate
right from
himself.
Isolate.
Mm-hmm.
That he moved into.
This is crazy, man.
Yeah, into the hotel, and he basically said, you know, there was no new positive tests, because the other test that I told you about happened yesterday.
Gotcha.
So, but that was 6:30 in the morning. So
he probably got his test like us right after the show, right after his press conference. Then the results probably came.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, he probably. Go ahead, Mickey.
I was just going to say the other thing, you know, that he mentioned was, he was talking about, you know, where they are, that they got to keep their eye on the ball, have to keep your eye on the target after losing 3 of their next 4, and basically not worrying about the big picture. He said, we're about winning the 8th game, and that's kind of the way you look at it. And he got asked something else about that, and he said, we just got more moving parts because of COVID. So I'm thinking he didn't know that he was going to test positive when he said something like that. So, well,
the other thing that's good about that, Mickey, if he obviously then he didn't have any symptoms this morning at 6:30,
right?
And so that's the really good thing, that perhaps with him it just came back as a positive test and without any symptoms, and hopefully he'll be able to stay symptom free. And I think as a vaccinated person, he then would have to have 2 negative tests within a 24-hour time period. But he has been ruled out to coach Thursday night because it's just too close to game time. And
so if it was a Sunday game, then he would have made it.
Yeah, and I guess
I mean, he could have with 2 negative tests.
Yeah, and we thought this was
2 negative tests over 24 hours.
We thought this was a bad thing because they didn't get the 10 days after Thanksgiving. They had to play the next Thursday, but because they're playing the next Thursday, then they got 10 days. So a bunch of this, you would hope, if everybody's good, will clear up before they have to play the next game at Washington. I think that's right.
Yep, it's at Washington.
So that's kind of a blessing.
So, And even just myself, just having gone down to a clinic just to get my test, and the nurse there basically told me that there's no reason I should. It could come back negative today since my exposure was on Friday. You're supposed to allow 5 to 6 days before it could come back positive. So I could come back with a negative test today and still test positive on Wednesday or Thursday, 5 or 6 days after my exposure with Coach. And so that's what the Cowboys as a team, and any NFL team that has any of these cases, they're dealing with, and why the Cowboys went virtual with their meetings this week is to limit the exposure in those confined areas where you're doing what you can as far as wearing masks and social distancing, but you are indoors in meeting areas where you don't have the same kind of ventilation as you do out on the practice field, and that's where the spread can occur. And which is why we're doing what we're doing on this show right now, making sure, since I was around the coach on Friday, that we're not doing any. We're trying to be as safe as we can right now, and that's what the team is doing right now. And to your point, Mickey, it may not be until after this game in New Orleans, where everyone is away from everybody for a 3-day, maybe even a 4-day weekend. They probably will give them off. They could give them 5 days off and come back to work Wednesday of next week before the Washington game. Keep it all virtual before then, just to clear it out of the building and make sure everybody is healthy going forward.
I wonder what they do after practice. Go home and take a shower?
I mean, do you go home? Do you go? Is everyone going to a hotel?
Or get them in a hotel room?
Yeah, and I think the thing
like
about
go
this,
back to last year, right?
Yeah, but when you look at this, it will save some people, help some people going forward in regards to the virtual meetings and things of that nature. But it's not going to help those that may have already been exposed. So, like you said, Bill, it will keep us out of trouble in future circumstances. But it may be too late for some others, and I have a feeling that we're gonna find out that it is too late for some people, and they may. God, I'm hoping it's not any key players.
Yeah, and that's why they're doing what they can to stay away from each other during their meetings and so forth. And that's also why they are testing every single day to make sure that if there are exposures, they're dealing with it as quickly as they can.
And they were going to have to test every day anyway with the new NFL protocols that started the day after Thanksgiving. So that's what they were worried about, people being exposed to family and friends over the holidays. So that will continue.
I think it might even step up a little bit because this whole scare of the new variant, even though we don't think it's here yet, you got to know it's coming. So anything that affects the country is going to affect the NFL. So things may get a little even more stringent around here.
So there's your COVID
so Mickey,
update.
they're out on the practice field.
Yes, they are.
But they're out on the practice field now, right? And so what is the schedule the rest of the day as far as the virtual meetings with the media? And when do we find out for sure who's going to be the interim head coach of this team?
Yeah, we don't have anything scheduled with any member of the coaching staff or the organization. I guess Jerry will do his update on 105.3 The Fan at 8:30 tomorrow morning. But we're supposed to get virtual call-in interviews with players after practice, similar to what they did yesterday. I think it was Zach Martin, Ezekiel Elliott, and Micah Parsons. So there should be at least 3 more guys that'll be a WebEx interview taking place. I think it said like 1:40 today. But that's all that we have scheduled from, there is going to be a pool report coming out soon from practice. A couple of the guys from our DallasCowboys.com staff were allowed to go to practice, and they're going to write a report on what they've seen so far today, or at least the portion they got to watch, stretch as we normally do, position drills, individual drills, and then they were dismissed.
What about the the coaching positions, Bill? You have some coaches that like to be up in the booth. You have some coaches like to be down on the field. That's how they do their best work. And to me, I'm looking at Dan Quinn, being the guy that takes over, and it may not be so, but if I was going to guess, it'd be Dan Quinn taking over because he has had head coaching experience, of course. But I don't know where Dan is positioned during the game. Is he? And see, if you're a defensive coordinator, you want to be, you kind of want to be where you are. You don't want to change anything. But if Dan Quinn is considered the interim at this point, would he have to come down to the field, or could he be a head coach up in the booth?
So here's what they're doing on the offensive line to replace the two guys that are the offensive line coaches. They have a couple guys that have some offensive line experience. First, Ben Mcadoo, who is the consultant. He was originally, when he started coaching, an offensive line coach, then became a coordinator, then became the head coach with the Giants. So he and Mike talked about this on Sunday, saying that he would be involved with the offensive line, along with quality control coach Chase Hazlitt. He's had a little bit of experience with offensive line, and also the tight ends coach Lunda Wells. For 5 years as an assistant with the Giants, he worked with the offensive. He wasn't the offensive line coach; he was the offensive line assistant, and so he was expected also to work with the offensive line. So that's how they're kind of taking care of that. And one of the things that teams have done when they've been in this situation, and all I can say is, most recently with the Raiders, a lot of times the special teams coach, because he coaches everybody, ends up being kind of the guy in charge. Now, I don't know if he has to be the guy that decides on 4th and 2, are we going for it or are we punting? But you're right, what you said. I think Dan Quinn and Mcadoo are the only guys on the staff that have been head coaches at some point in their career.
Fossil has been an interim before. I'm pretty sure Fossil has been an interim.
Oh, that's right. He was an interim. Yeah, you're right, when they did that. So that could be. And then if they want Dan Quinn to be down on the field, the other guy that has experience as a defensive coordinator is George Edwards. So, they could, and remember what they did in training camp when Dan Quinn was out. Joe Witt took his place as the defensive coordinator, actually called the plays during the game. And then Doug Nussmeier, remember they kind of rotated that one game. Kellen Moore didn't call the plays, Nussmeier did. And McCarthy had said, and I can't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday, that they've gone through this last year, like on who would take over in case something happened to him. So there was a previous plan in place.
It's funny. I didn't know about the special teams, how prevalent that was. I'm not sure if the Cardinals did that, though.
What they did when Kingsbury
was out.
Right. But,
do you remember who was on the sideline there?
I do not. Rich Bisaccia took over the Raiders. But no, he had been the Cowboys' assistant head coach when he was here before he went to the Raiders. So that was kind of the natural transition. And I've seen that happen before.
Believe it or not, Grambling, they fired their coach, and they had to play the Bayou Classic this weekend. They won the game, but the replacement
was that a reflection of the move?
Well, no, it was a special teams coach.
Special teams
stepped
coach.
in. Yeah, he happened to be a former Southern Jaguar, but the special teams coach stepped in, and I never really looked at it from that standpoint until you guys said something.
And what the Cardinals did was in Kingsbury's place when he missed the game earlier this season with COVID. defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, who obviously was a former head coach with the Broncos, and assistant head coach special teams coordinator Jeff Rogers split the head coaching responsibilities, with other assistants filling duties. So I don't know on the sideline who it was that was.
Sound like by committee. Sound like by committee, Bill.
Who made the call on 4th and 2?
Yeah. And as I recall it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, they won the game. They won the game.
That's right. That's right. So, all right, we're just getting started on this edition of Mick Shots. So much to get you up to speed on with what's going on with this team as they get set for a game just a few days away on Thursday night in New Orleans. Mick Shots continues in a moment.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
How great would it be to travel to watch the Cowboys win on another team's turf? Pretty great. But honestly, just watching the game from anywhere but your house would be fun. Even a hotel bar with some guy named Phil from St. Louis who thinks Oakland still has a team. So whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Back to Mick Shots.
Give the gift of Cowboys this season with a Dallas Cowboys United membership presented by Globe Life. It's the ultimate fan experience for the ultimate Cowboys fan. Members should start at just $20 and include an exclusive fan pack and VIP member experiences. 'Tis the season. Visit DallasCowboys.com/United to get yours today.
'Tis the season.
All right, and make sure you head out to the Star in Frisco. I was out there over the weekend. It's a great place to bring the whole family to enjoy what's going on from the Christmas standpoint with Santa there on Friday and Saturday. Here's the breaking news from the Star in Frisco, Mickey and Everson, as Dak Prescott is talking to the media, reports on Twitter just within the last couple of minutes. Dak says that Coach McCarthy notified the players of his positive COVID test at the end of their virtual team meeting today. Prescott says the message was just continue on. Obviously, we'll miss Coach, but his health is first and foremost important. So that makes me wonder if McCarthy himself got notification of the positive test during the team meeting and then notified the team at the end of the virtual team meeting today.
Because if you would have done that from the start, right, if you knew? It seems like anyway.
That's right, yeah.
You don't want to bury the lead.
Yeah.
Well, good update there, Bill.
Thank you, William.
All right, I've got another more breaking news just in from the New Orleans Saints camp. They are going to have a new quarterback on Thursday night against the Dallas Cowboys. Taysom Hill is the starting quarterback for the Saints against the Cowboys, not Trevor Siemian.
You know, Taysom Hill I think he's really the fan favorite to play quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. I think that might get him a little more fired up, and that's the last thing we need in the Superdome is for fans to get
more emotion,
more fired up about this thing.
Mickey, do you have any reaction to that breaking news out of New Orleans?
Yeah, I'd rather Simeon be their head coach. I mean, their quarterback. Excuse me, I said head coach.
You'd rather he be their head coach too.
Yeah, that too.
You could.
You know, but when you look at this last game, it didn't matter what was whether the Raiders were sufficient or insufficient. We seemed to fall right into it. You know, as we get to how we did during this game, I thought that our team speed would be, it would be good for us. It turned out that, we couldn't keep up. We knew they were going deep. We knew they had Deshaun Jackson. We knew what he was going to do. He was going to be the replacement for Ruggs, and that was unfortunate what happened with him. But we knew that he was going to be that guy that was going to go deep. He's going to be going deep across the field. And when you look at how our secondary played, it was awful. And when I say awful, I get it. In 1981, we gave up a bunch of plays, but we made a bunch of plays. So if you're going to give up 130-plus yards to Renfro, if you're going to give up, God, I don't know how many yards to Deshaun Jackson, you might as well get some picks. Oh, see that? Thank you, Spec. You might as well get some picks while you're at it. To me, we looked like we took a bad step backwards defensively. Our secondary, I liked our front seven, except for how we played against the run. But our secondary, we just seemed to be clueless, as if we didn't know that the Raiders go deep. They've been going deep ever since, oh my God, ever since Tom Flores, since Blanda. I mean, come on, these are just the quarterbacks. Warren Wells, I mean, we got too many of them that we can think of that is all about speed. And I thought, when we did our pick to click, that the speed would be to our benefit, and it was not.
Well, they made their bet on getting to Derek Carr. They many times overloaded the front to go after him, and they didn't get to him enough. I know they got 3 sacks. That's great. But there was too many times on them deep passes. I mean, the first one to Deshaun Jackson, he started on the right side of the formation, ended up on the left sideline.
Left sideline. Outside the numbers.
And that's when he caught the ball.
That's right.
And then he ran the rest of the way.
That's right.
So that means you had the time of day in the pocket, and far too many times that's what happened. And if you're going to play single safety high, you better get to him, right? You better get to the quarterback, and they just didn't affect him near enough, which allows those deep passes, and your guys have to cover all day long back there, and it sure didn't work. And see, everybody forgets, he threw for 373 yards, 373, and they ended up with 509 yards.
Yes, they did.
509 yards total offense. And now, wait for this. They added another 166 in penalties.
Yes.
That's 175 yards. 675. I can't even say it. It's so much.
Hey, Bill. This is the thing. Bill. We played the Raiders game. That's their game. A bunch of penalties because we had, 11?
Each team had 14.
14. That is the kind of game that the Raiders want to play. That's how they thrive when they play during the season. They lull you in to playing their type of game.
166 yards in penalties was a franchise single-game record that you don't want.
Hey, Bill, and Connor Williams is like, okay, what's up? I'm not out there. You can't blame me. So,
and since we're going down this rabbit hole, I brought my white hat with me, but I left it in the car.
Oh man!
Because I figured the COVID thing would override everything else we talked about. But the hat was ready to go. I've never seen more ticky-tack fouls in my entire existence. Mm-hmm. Not football life, existence. Right? My comment in my column on Friday was 28 penalties. They made Six Flags Over Texas look puny.
That's funny. I like that, Spags. You
Goodness
did good.
Gracious.
Six Flags Over Texas.
And to go and decide the game in overtime on an underthrown ball once again, they need to do something about that call.
That was shady. That
right?
was shady. That was a shady call, Spags.
Underthrown call where the receiver comes back and jumps over the DB's back and
his
grabs
hands
him.
are up.
Yes.
His hands are up.
He didn't touch him.
He didn't touch him.
The contact was made by the receiver, and you let that decide the game. Here's my other research. Last year, Hockley's crew finished third most in penalties, and this year, right now, going into Sunday, they were number one.
Wow.
In penalties and penalty yards.
Well, you got to strive for the best, man. I mean, you can't just be number three. You got to go for
so they had a history of throwing flags. McCarthy said it after the game, talked about, you prepare for different crews, what they emphasize, what they don't. And we knew that this was going to be that type of game with this crew.
That's so funny. All the times I played, I always knew about a couple of referees. One of them, we called him Big Al. Big Al was always behind me. He was always throwing flags on me. We had this little thing going. But as far as the entire crew was concerned, I don't think I've ever heard coaches prepare for certain crews before. It's just funny how things have gotten so complicated.
Oh, they've analyzed it to the point where here's what they call most. Here's what they call least.
But they don't tell the players that, do they?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like, and one of the interference calls on Anthony Brown should have been a hold, because the flag it occurred way up the field, right? So they let the flag.
I recall that.
Where was the flag
thrown? They didn't call pushing. They called pass interference.
Right. And it happened
at the spot.
At the spot.
Yes.
Not where they threw the flag for the penalty.
It should have been just a 5-yard first
and
down.
They've done this so many times. It's like they let the play pan out, and then here comes the flag.
Right.
It's like, so
That's
if he caught it, maybe I won't
time.
throw the flag.
They did it last week too.
Golly. It's just, and the other thing I wrote after the game, and look, I understand there were penalties, right? But there were a couple of ticky-tack ones. But the last one, I believe it was 5:24 left in overtime, I would have been thrown out of the game if I was the head coach.
Right.
They would have taken me off on a stretcher.
Well, he was trying.
Right?
McCarthy was trying. He was doing his best.
I would have been fined, probably suspended. The game would not have started right away after that call.
You know McCarthy's not going to do that.
Well,
that's you, man.
I know.
That's just you.
Hard-headed me. But at some point, you got to make a stand. You can't put up with that.
Well, he did. I certainly saw him going at the referee. Go ahead, Bill.
Yes, and a little birdie told me that, okay, on that last play, that last call you're talking about, you know the official who made that call? He was the same official who tripped over the pylon on the
I saw that.
kickoff return by Tony Pollard.
Right.
He may not have been in position to make that call. And had he been in position to make that call, there was, if you were watching me right now, there was like this much space between Anthony Brown and the receiver when that call was made. Yeah. And you had to be in a position to be able to see the space that was in between Anthony Brown and that receiver. And by the way, Mickey, you know that Sean Hockley's father is rather famous and retired referee. I would think that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, And I would think that this referee had full knowledge that this might be the most watched regular season game in National Football League history in the last 31 years, which it was. They had more viewers than any NFL regular season game, according to CBS, than any regular season game since 1990.
That is freaking
So, thinking about that, there might have been more shots of Sean Hockley than there was of Dak Prescott in the game.
Was it really? You think so?
That's right.
He got 28. No, wait. 30.
That's a lot of airtime.
No, wait. 31, because I think 3 of them got declined, right?
Golly.
And there would have been more yards if it wasn't for the offsetting penalties on the 2 guys they threw out, which Kelvin Joseph did nothing. They got tangled up, and the guy threw him to the ground.
He sure did. He almost threw him to the wall.
And they didn't see anything because they couldn't. There was too many people
Too much going on.
there,
And
right?
you can't make that decision without going to New York for that.
Right.
And that's looking at it way too fast. Oh, well.
Okay.
All right. We still got
I've
more
said
time
my
to
piece.
vent here on Mick Shots. All right. You really needed to wear your cap today.
I know.
Really
I should have.
Yeah. People were asking me on Twitter, is Mickey going to wear his referee's cap on Monday? Well,
It's
you
out in
disappointed
the
masses
out in the
there.
car.
He wasn't committed, Bill.
Okay. All right. We continue with more Mick Shots in a moment.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Back to Mick Shots.
Registration for holiday youth camps is now open. Don't miss the Dallas Cowboys Football Academy and Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders Dance Academy camps on December 21st at the Star in Frisco and the 22nd at AT&T Stadium. Space is limited, so register today at dallascowboys.com/academy.
Yeah. You are flawless these days, man.
And we have more breaking news from the Star in Frisco as we speak. C.D. Lamb talking to the media, and he has confirmed, Mickey Spagnola and Everson Walls, that he will play Thursday night at the New Orleans Saints, adding he didn't clear protocol until after last Thursday's game, which we already knew. Going through the protocol, it was tough. I feel a lot better now, says C.D. Lamb. Mickey?
Well, now, if they can just get Amari Cooper off of reserve COVID, that didn't happen today, so I'm assuming he didn't practice. and hopefully they don't have any more, but if they get their top 3 wide receivers out there, maybe Dak Prescott can put the team on his back, okay?
I got to say.
Okay, Mickey, you had something.
I do. One more thing on the penalties. So I think we're heading into Week 13. After Cowboys have played 11 games, they lead the league right now with 91 penalties.
Ooh.
Second,
oh my God.
Second by
the Raiders.
No surprise, the Raiders come in with 89. And third, after they've played 12 games, Carolina has 88. Cleveland's played 12 games. They have 85. The Chargers in Philly are tied with 80. And how about this? When it comes to holding penalties, offensive holding penalties, the Cowboys have 19. Only the Vikings have more than with 20. Carolina 19, the Raiders with 18. And guess who leads the league with unnecessary roughing calls? Your Dallas Cowboys with 9. A bunch of bullies.
That's crazy, man. We've never been in that position
before.
I have never known
because they haven't gotten close enough to the quarterback to rough them.
But even with the penalties leading the league, I don't think the Cowboys have ever led the league in penalties before in the history of the NFL.
Well, as they say in these parts, they're fixing to.
Oh, I tell you.
All right.
We have an NFC East team in action tonight as the Washington football team is playing host to the Seattle Seahawks tonight. As I check the standings, the Cowboys starting tonight at 7-4. The Cowboys getting good news yesterday as the Eagles lost to the Giants. Eagles 5-7. The football team is 4-6 going into tonight's game against Seattle, while the Giants are at 4-7.
Well, and having said that, when you look at the standings, only one team has more than 2, or I should say less than 2 losses than the Cowboys. Arizona at 9-2. Mm-hmm. Green Bay 9-3. Tampa Bay 8-3. And now the Rams and the Cowboys check in at 7-4. So again, if you just right the ship and get out of this losing 3 games in the last 4, you're still in pretty good shape. And after watching games over the weekend, yesterday, including the Eagles, look, did anybody watch Jalen Hurts play yesterday?
I saw him play yesterday, yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
I've seen him a lot.
They're not going to win with him consistently throwing the ball like that. They scored 7 points against the Giants. Oh, and by the way, the Giants changing offensive coordinators made a huge difference.
It did.
They checked in with 13 points. I think the game was 3-0 in the third quarter, if I remember correctly.
And Jason, I'm sorry, he's probably toasting somebody somewhere. Like, see, I told you they still suck.
That changed
they
everything.
Still suck.
13 points.
But I gotta say, I mean, you know me. I've always been a Jalen Hurts defender in some ways because I just think he's way talented than what he's playing. And then you look at this team itself; they've always had the ability somehow to just keep winning ugly. They still had several chances to win that doggone game.
No, they did.
Oh, my God. Wide receivers are just dropping passes all over the place.
Despite the interceptions.
Yeah, he got three interceptions, man. That was ridiculous. But then you still come back, okay, forget about the 3 picks. Let's go ahead and try to win this game. All right, we put this in your hands. He actually did a good job in the fourth quarter at keeping them alive. One ball went right through Greg Ward's hands. That was a perfect pass. He laid out, missed it. And you saw the other 2. Just ridiculous misses, especially the last one. Come on, man. That's 4th down. I mean, he laid it out there almost like a three-pointer, like Curry. He left it out there. When they say leave it, he left it out there, the form. And the guy jumps up. He hit the freaking 1-yard line, and you just drop it. Nobody even touched you. I mean, so you got to watch out for teams like that because once they realize how much they suck, they might get better. You got to be careful, guys. I'm telling you, you got to be careful.
And I'll tell you what, I may get blistered for this, but I think the luckiest quarterback out there in the league right now, some guy in Baltimore.
Oh, man.
Golly.
Oh, my goodness.
Are you committed? Are you kidding me?
Come on, bro.
And the announcers at the game were acting like, oh, it's Lamar time. Yeah, he threw the ball up for grabs, and it came down. Talk about two Hail Marys at the end.
And Dak can't get any love. You know, he just can't get any love.
No, because he doesn't put the team on his back.
Nope. 370-plus yards is just not enough. Not good enough. Garbage yards, they call them. Crazy.
All right.
We're done. We're done.
I had way too much time to watch games this weekend. And I haven't even got started on college yet. Bill?
Oh, and I could go on and on about college. And by the way, there may be some breaking news on that front, too.
Yeah, I bet.
I just want to know why.
I won't break
Something's got to
right
come
now,
out.
as I'm just very happy with what's happening with my alma mater right now. I'll just put it that way.
Is that sarcasm?
No, I think he's
really
I think he's kind of happy.
Okay, well, let me know, because it's
I'm
not my
really
alma
happy.
mater, but I love OU.
Something happened.
Let me just say this. If the Sooners hire Brent Venables as their head coach, the Clemson defensive coordinator, all is well in Soonerland once again. It only was a 24-hour little respite there, but we shall see. Okay, that does it. Mickey, by the way, I noticed.
You mean Oklahoma?
As I'm looking at the transfer portal.
Yeah.
As I'm looking at the transfer portal, you're losing a lot of players at Missouri today.
Hopefully are the ones that they want to lose.
That's like me. When I was like, some of those players for OU that came in the transfer portal, I call it now the transfer portal potty. They were making those some of the bad plays against Oklahoma State the other night. I'm just hoping that Lincoln Riley takes some of those players to USC with them.
Man.
So there's a site.
You probably feel the same way about some of your Missouri players. Some of them need to go in the transfer portal.
What site can I go to find that transfer portal?
There's a Twitter account, the transfer portal. Just search transfer portal. You'll see all those Missouri players in the portal. Spencer Rattler's in there as well today. All right, that does it for Mick Shots. So much more to talk about tomorrow on the next edition of Mick Shots at 1:30, whether virtually or in person.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!